Welcome to the Dadrepreneurs podcast. This is our first episode, so I probably owe you a quick explanation of what we're doing here before we start pretending this is a well-oiled machine. The idea is pretty simple. We want to have honest conversations with dads who are building businesses, leading teams, taking risks, and trying to do all of that without losing the plot at home. Because entrepreneurship already has plenty of podcasts about exit, growth hacks, morning routine, and how somebody scaled something in a way that sounds exhausting. And fatherhood has plenty of advice too, most of which I'm still trying to remember somewhere between school drop-off, work calls, dinner, bath time, and wondering if I replied to that one email from 3 days ago. There's this real tension a lot of us live in. We want to build something meaningful. We want to provide. We want to take care of our families. We want to be present. We want to be ambitious without becoming absent. Most days, it's not clean. It's not perfectly balanced. It's more like controlled chaos with snacks in the backseat. So this podcast is about that life. We're going to talk with founders, operators, creators, and business owners who are also dads. We'll get into the real stories, what they're building, what it cost them, what they've learned, what they would do differently, and how fatherhood has changed the way that they think about success. Some episodes will be tactical, some will be personal. Some will probably include a story about a kid interrupting a Zoom call at the exact wrong moment, which honestly might be the most on-brand thing we could do. Our hope is that this becomes a place where ambitious dads can feel a little less alone, pick up some useful lessons, and maybe be reminded that the goal isn't about just building a business that works. It's to build a life that works. This is Dadrepreneurs podcast recorded in the Texas Hill Country. Thank you all for being here. Let's get into it.
That's what I want out of this, is I want people to come away from coming on the show and listening to the show to be like, no. What I'm experiencing is real.
Yeah.
And I'm not the only one. And I'm ready to go try some new things as a dad and as an entrepreneur. Let's get rolling.
What's up?
Dadrepreneur.
It's time.
The podcast, the show, episode 1. What the hell are we doing, man?
Dude, I have no idea. It's like one of those things where you we always bitch about not having near enough time to do whatever we want. And so why not just throw a podcast in there in all of our free time that we don't have, you know what I mean?
Dude, I'm excited for a number of different reasons. We got JB, Jon Blair, JM, John Mark. What is the Dadrepreneur, man? We've been throwing this around for a while. Why are you excited about doing this? And I'm going to chat a little bit about where this came from.
Yeah, I think my whole thing with this thing is I don't necessarily have too many hobbies. Being a dad and being an entrepreneur is my hobbies. That's all I got. This is all I got going for me. So I think that's my biggest thing that I'm pretty excited about here is just it's very easy to just talk about the two loves of my life, and it's
that take all of our time,
literally
energy.
I have nothing else.
Emotional capacity.
Exactly right. I'll have hobbies whenever I'm dead, I guess.
That'll be sleeping.
Yeah.
So Dadrepreneur podcast episode 1. What are we doing here? I had this idea I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 years ago. I've been doing content creation for my accounting firm, Grow CFO, for 3.5 years. So maybe it's about 3 years ago. I was scrolling through other people's content and I was like, man, everyone's got a hack for how to crush it at work.
Yeah.
But I'm sitting here going man, I slept 2 hours last night because I have a baby and an 18-month-old and a 3.5-year-old. And I'm like, where are all the homies who are battling it out I am?
In the trenches.
Trying to build a business and raise 3 little kids at the same time. I find parenting content and I find business content, and I don't find much that overlaps it. And even, the stuff that's out there, I don't feel like it's for dads.
Totally.
The man of the house, the leader of the family, if we're entrepreneurs, probably the leader of our business. And so I just wanted to get out there and be like, dude, can we talk about some real stuff here? Growing businesses, leading that business, growing a family, leading that family, and just how when we take a step back and we look in hindsight, we can see we're building great things, but in the middle of it, It's the most insane thing I ever
So
decided to
fun.
do in my entire life,
Yeah.
man. So that's the whole point of this, for us
Yep.
to get real.
Yeah.
So
And mostly just share secrets on how to stay alive.
yeah, exactly,
Like,
exactly.
not just share secrets, but also learn. I think my main thing is if I can have people on here to give me like even little tidbits on how to just be, I don't know, 2% better at being a dad or 2% better at being a business owner, like I think that'll be successful. And if we have a good time while doing it, that like
Oh, we're gonna
that's
have a
real.
damn, we're gonna have a damn good time. You know what's interesting is you say that I'm thinking to myself like, I think one of the real reasons why I'm excited about this is because all the other content out there about growing a business is just it's too polished.
Totally.
It's not
And that's
real
not
life.
what, dude, that's
And like,
not what growing a business is.
and not what growing a family is. Yeah, yeah. So you combine the
Right.
two, it is
There's-
messy, it's dirty, it
Yeah.
smells bad. I step in a lot of things.
Yep.
Substances of various colors.
Yeah,
And,
figurative and literal, like, for sure.
and
Yeah.
so before we dive into our stories, which I think is definitely warranted, I just want to give everyone a quick overview of like where we headed. We don't know for sure where we're headed because just like growing a business and growing a family, I never know what I'm waking up to every day. So it would be fitting that the show is the same. But we'll tell you this, we have a bunch of amazing dadrepreneurs in our network, and we're just going to start bringing them on the show.
Totally.
And we're going to hear about all the crazy stuff they're dealing with, some of the hacks they're dealing with. John Mark has got a whole list of funny questions we're going to go over. What do your kids think you do? What's the most disgusting substance you've ever cleaned up while on a call, while closing a deal? You know, all kinds of fun stuff. But it's going to be great. Before we get into any of that, though, Jon Mark Craddock, who are you?
Yeah,
And what is your dadrepreneur story?
totally. So Jon Mark Craddock, everybody calls me JM, so that's the easy thing to go by. And my story kind of starts. I was the typical like high school guys, like doing all kinds of random businesses, grass cutting, all like just hustling, just trying to find a way to like buy Southern Comfort back, like on the weekends back home.
That's so cool, man.
Dude, SoCo and Mountain Dew was my thing.
Oh.
So gnarly. So typical kind of like, hustler in high school, college, all those types of things. And I get to college at College of Charleston, and somehow meet the Chubby's guys. Like it was
I
like,
didn't realize you met them.
dude,
Who did you meet there?
I was in college. I didn't meet them there. They randomly got a list of fraternity presidents.
Oh, from like a sales standpoint.
Dude,
like,
I have
their
no
sales
idea.
list.
Like it was like, I don't know how they got this thing, but for some reason my name and contact was on this list, and I thank God it was because.
Wait, so you were a fraternity president?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is getting good.
Yeah, what they did was just use it as like kind of like guerrilla marketing, and like
Yeah.
there's a bunch of crazy animals on all these campuses. They just sent free shorts to them, and that was the wildfire that started that whole thing.
That
And
makes
so
sense. I did not know.
it was crazy. So like this was 6 months into them building the brand or something like that, and I just became friends with Kyle and Rainer through this. And they were like, yeah, we're going to bring out 2 or 3 interns for the summer. And I went out, and that's whenever Chubby's went viral. It was like insane. They needed all the help they could get. So I was officially the first hire at Chubby's, like the first guy. And from there, I just kind of went into all things, operations and business at Chubby's. I was there for 10 years. I went to a couple other brands, D2C e-commerce brands. And then in 2023, my wife and I bought our own brand called La Matera. We sell belts and other leather goods, and we're just kind of living the dream.
Your dad's story, the kids,
Dude,
the other half of the podcast.
I know. It was funny because whenever we were buying La Matera, which was 2023, when we started the process for buying it, it would have been March of 2023. And so at that point, we would have had an 8-month-old. And so, like, it was like insane.
You're just as dumb as I am.
It was so dumb.
Wait till you hear my story. We're both just as dumb as each other.
So dumb. So we had an 8-month-old. We had a newish house that we were like, I don't know. I was renovating myself starting in 2020. It was supposed to be a year renovation. I literally just got done. I'm not even done, and it's 5 years from now. Like it's been a long time. And so we had our first kid. First business, It was all within a year. And then, fast forward 2 years later, we had our second. So we have a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old now. And and it's just
House still isn't done. La
not done.
Matera, any other businesses or any other side
Ramping,
projects?
yeah, ramping up another kind of agency style business on the side, playing around with AI and just helping inject AI into some of these brands. So that's a very fresh. We can use this podcast to see how that
goes, yeah.
It could just go down or it could go to the moon. So we'll see what happens.
Man, we are equally crazy, I think. JM over there, JB right here. So I'm Jon Blair. I have a similar story to John Mark, which is probably part of the reason why we hit it off. We were actually kind of captivated by how similar our stories were when we first met, which was like, what, maybe a year ago?
Yep.
Was it about a year ago that we got connected through, I think, Tyler?
Yep.
Over at Chase. And so I'll start kind of at where John and I met and then back up into my Dadrepreneur story. But I run a fractional CFO agency that specifically works with growing e-commerce brands. La Matera is a growing e-commerce brand. There's a mutual connection here in the Austin, Texas area that said, hey, you guys got to know each other. We met up at that Final Loop e-commerce event, and we sat down together at lunch, and we started telling our whole story, and was like, oh my gosh, we have the same story. So here's my version of JM's story. Like, yeah, exactly. I, in undergrad, back in California, started working with a company that's called Guardian Bikes. They're now a 9-figure D2C kids bike brand. Brian and Kyle, who are the other two guys on the founding team, we all went to the same undergrad school together. I started doing their bookkeeping in 2009 when the business started.
Still in college?
Yeah, I was in my last year. I was in my 4th year. And so that was when I started. I was the moonlighting accountant, finance guy for a number of years. But I'm a rebel at heart. Drives my wife freaking crazy that I refuse to do things the same way as anybody else on planet Earth. But I'm a rebel. So when I graduated with my accounting degree, I started a thrash metal band.
Yes.
Got signed to a record label and put out one record, toured for a summer, and then got done and was like, that's not the life for me.
I feel like I'm like trying to remember if you've told me this before. Like you've had to, because that's so unique.
Well, so
you've had to.
We're going to go probably pretty tangential through my story, I'm guessing. But like when I met my wife 11 years ago, because that's where the dad story starts.
Yeah.
I met my wife 11 years ago. Oh, no, wait. Man, I've got 3 kids. I forget what year it is. That was 13 years ago. Andrea, sorry. 13 years ago, I met my wife. For that stint, so I was always moonlighting for Guardian Bikes. But for about 8 months, I talked to Brian and said, hey, man, I'm just going to stop. I'm going on tour. It's going to be really hard to keep doing the books. I met my wife during that time. She introduced me to her mom, my now mother-in-law. And she's like, hey, this is my boyfriend, John. He tours in a thrash metal band. I swear he has an accounting degree. And he's a really smart guy. But that's just what he's doing right now.
That is gold. I feel like we got to interview her.
Yeah, we probably
see what she was.
We got to bring
really
wives. We definitely going to have to bring wives on at some point. That's got to be a part of it.
I was talking about her mom, dude. I want to know the real truth.
Okay. Yeah, okay, fine. Marlis would do it. I was always the kid who had different BS businesses. I had a skateboard company. I made shirts. I made stickers, all that stuff. And so like I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. When I got off that tour, which honestly being a musician was a very entrepreneurial thing to try.
Totally.
Start your own band. You're basically a marketing company and your product is your music, right? And I called Brian back up from Guardian Bikes, and the company actually was originally a brake company. The company has a patent on a brake that prevents you from flipping over the handlebars. At that time, we were not Guardian Bikes. We were trying to sell brakes, Sure Stop brakes, to all of these, Schwinn, Huffy, the big bike brands. Long story short, we just weren't getting enough. We were getting traction, but not enough to build a legitimate business around. And Brian came up with the idea to pivot to actually building our own bike brand. Our shareholders weren't thrilled.
Yeah.
They're like, man, that's capital intensive. But anyways, Brian, huge kind of fan of the direct to consumer like Tesla model of business, and he was convinced that we needed to be direct to consumer because the only way to tell the story of like these breaks are safer than everything else is to do it online, because in a Walmart bike aisle, you cannot tell the difference between anything, right?
Yeah.
And so that was where how I got into direct to consumer. Company went on Shark Tank. Mark Cuban invested. This is 2017. And then I joined full time because we had enough money. We scaled up really, really quickly. I was there full time, part time for like 9-ish, 10-ish years, full time for maybe 6 or 7. And then I started having a bunch of kids.
Yeah.
And my wife, I never really had a plan. I don't know. I'll ask you this in a second, but I didn't have a plan to have kids or not have kids. I was just a startup guy. I never went into Big Four accounting. I never went into like any big corporate. It was like startup through and through. And I was just having so much fun doing startups, and it's so much work, and you get paid no cash. It's all equity and future upside. The last thing I was thinking
Where
is
were
like,
you at during this time?
California, Southern California, until the last few years of Guardian.
And dude, we were just up the road. Like we were up the road in San Francisco. And it was
Yeah,
the same
exactly.
thing. You're not getting you're getting like, I think my first salary was like $28,000, and I was living in San Francisco. That is poverty.
No, that's
like
beyond poverty in San Francisco.
Yeah,
I was making $60K a year in Orange County.
Literally.
And we were fine because it was just the two of us.
Totally.
But then my daughter was born. So my oldest is 7. That was 2019. And luckily around that time we had talked about moving the company to Austin. We did it, and then the world shut down. Pandemic, like literally.
Dude, that's so weird.
2 months after we moved here.
We did. You moved Guardian to Austin?
Yeah, in December of 2019.
Literally the same thing at Chubb's.
Really?
2019.
Oh, because they all went to Stanford, so you guys were up in San Francisco.
We were in San Francisco, right? And we moved the freaking company to Austin.
Yeah, and then the world shut down. Yep. We have a kid, and like, honestly, we were kind of like our first child. Kid, let's get real here really fast. I'll tell you how we got like. I'm also a Christian, so I have the spiritual side of my life. God tricked me into having 3 kids for my good. Okay, for my good, but he really tricked me. Our first was an angel. Slept through the night, 4 weeks in. It's just so easy. We took her everywhere, breweries, on trips, everywhere. And I was like, I could have 6 of these things. COVID happens. We're just building Guardian. Nothing else to do because the world shut down. And my wife's like, I want to get pregnant again. I was like, all right, cool. Yeah, this is easy. Have our second kid. Dude. 1 to 2. While scaling an e-com brand in the middle of the COVID pandemic e-com asset bubble, which was insanity. Supply chains shut down, but demands through, so can't get product, but demands through the roof. And I have a brand new baby. And that baby did not sleep well. And that baby was not easy to deal with. And that was the first time that I was like, what have I gotten myself into? So my question to you is, when was the first time that you were like, damn, this having kids and business thing is way harder than I thought? Because I didn't think it right at the beginning.
Yeah, I don't think I thought it right at the beginning. Because right at the beginning, also, I was still working for the other company, like you were. I don't know. I think I just felt the same exact way the entire time, honestly. Like, it wasn't like at the beginning was easy, this part was easy. I think it was just difficult the entire time. But I'm kind of like a glutton for punishment, I think. And so, like, I just enjoy it all. Whenever things are not chaotic, like that's whenever I get bored. And
I know you start like inserting more chaos into your life, right? I'm the same way. You call it glutton for punishment. I just tell people that I have this like sick addiction to. I don't think about it as chaos. I think about it as like, getting bored and being like, I've got to make something.
Totally.
I have to create something.
Sure.
Yeah, so, okay, there's a couple of things I'm thinking of as you're saying this that I want to dig into a little bit more. I'm the exact same way as you in terms of, like, I will overexhaust myself with the madness of just trying to live a fruitful life as a family and a fruitful life in business. And I'll, like, be like, hey, I need a break. And I think I do. In reality, I do. And I take a break. And after about 5 days, I'm like, I've got to start another business.
Yeah.
What's the how's that play out for you?
It's the exact same thing. So I'm like, all right, I either start another business or a project, or I just like start a brand new renovation on our house. And it's just, that's the problem. That's my problem. That's why I'm 5 years into a 1 year renovation is, yeah, it's like, because
that's why we got to have your wife on.
100%. Like she's like, I think both of our wives are freaking saints for putting up with us, honestly. But it's the same mentality. But that is just one of the lanes that I can go in. It's just like, all right, I'm just gonna build this random like 500 square foot greenhouse on the back of our house because this thing seems like a good.
Okay, John, you want to actually start a podcast of that idea that you always had about Dadrepreneur?
Yeah, let's do that.
Because I mean, Dadrepreneur was one of these ideas for me 3 years ago, and I just never got traction on it. I was always thinking about it, and I tell you about it, and you're like,
you told me about it on your other podcast.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah,
and I was like, dude, yeah,
on
like
your other podcast.
Exactly. We will. Yeah,
and then
exactly.
one day, and then John would text me every couple months. Hey, dude, I built a website.
Yeah.
With AI for Dadrepreneur, and then I wouldn't hear from him for another couple months, and then finally, like a few weeks ago, you're like, dude, we're doing this.
I don't even text you a full explanation anymore. I just say Dadrepreneur.
Yeah, we're doing this.
Copy paste Dadrepreneur.
And I finally was like, send me a calendar invite, or it'll never happen. That's the only way for this to happen.
Yep.
Okay, so there's a couple other things that I think we should talk about. We're going to talk about a ton of this over the next however many episodes we do this thing. But we're talking about we're just always getting ourselves in it. We're natural born creators. We're creative. We're always trying to create something new. And I think, like for me, again, this comes from the spiritual side of my life. I believe that that's how man is wired, is to be a creator. And so part of creation is having a family, and part of creation is just building other stuff, right? But as I get older, I just turned 39 last week, and I still got, God willing, I've got a lot of runway ahead of me.
Yeah.
But I am starting to think about the concept of like the best allocation of my time a lot more at 39 and with 3 kids that are 7, 5, and 3 than I was when I had 1 kid and it was just Guardian in the middle of the e-com pandemic boom. What are some things that have changed for you over time in thinking about where your time is best spent, both as a dad and as an entrepreneur?
Yeah, I think that that's the beautiful part about being an entrepreneur and the type of person like we are. I was a very hard direct report. I was like
I would not want you direct reporting to me.
Yeah,
I'm surprised you're still friends with Kyle from Judges.
I bet, like legitimately. And it's just like it was very hard because I was a knucklehead. But that's my biggest thing with buying the business and being out on our own and doing that is the mentality shift from a W-2 job to being a business owner. And what I'm like, I don't know, I'm just going to keep a hold of forever is the ability to just control your schedule 100%. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, that is the piece that, to me, that is the most important. Yeah, I want to be successful. I want to make a lot of money. I want to build cool things. I want my kids to be able to do whatever they want to do. But I think, especially right now, we're still in a stage kind of before where y'all are. We're at 4 years and 1 year. Yeah. It's still
I miss
we're
that,
lucky,
man.
dude. It's so good, but it's also we're lucky if we have I don't know, if we have 3 nights of consecutive 7+ hour sleeps. We are superhumans. Yeah. You're
start 3 more businesses.
Let's go. Let's go. But that same piece is just the fact that I'm able to go pick up the girls. I drop them off at school in the morning, pick them up. I am uber present. The fact that I can, take these trips for the company and take my family along with us and just have them in the warehouse packing boxes. They are just in my life.
Yeah.
And that wasn't the same whenever I was managing warehouses out in Columbus for another company and doing these random things. That was one thing that I could never really do is just, I would never be able to just take my whole family along with us.
For sure.
That's the one piece that of my change in mentality is anything I do going forward, if my family can't come, I'm out.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's funny. So I've gone through this evolution. Like I started Free to Grow CFO for a lot of different reasons, but one of them, as it relates to my family, was to just have more flexibility. Do I work less? No, I work
No, no.
more. I
Yeah, for
definitely
sure.
work more. But I started by saying like I'm going to choose when I'm going to work, who I'm going to work with, um, and I'm going to choose what kinds of businesses I care to work with, right? And I'm definitely going to work from home. Like I do have times when I get a little stir crazy. It's part of the reason why we moved in the house that we have now. When I started the business, we were in a 3 bedroom, 1,400 square foot house with a newborn, an 18-month-old, and a 3.5-year-old, and Free to Grow was like 3 months old. And my bedroom meant in a 1,400 square foot house, 3 bedrooms. The master bedroom is not very big. We eventually moved to this house out here in Lakeway, in large part because the office is a converted attic above a 3-car garage.
Oh, sick.
In the
Yeah.
front left side of the house, big room,
It's your space.
big thick door with a lock on it.
This is literally why we're
Yeah.
sitting, like where
And
we're sitting. Is
so
my
like
space. Yeah,
I need separation, but I would never want to work anywhere but my house.
totally.
And at the beginning, I had a lot of flexibility because I was a solopreneur. Now we have 50 clients and 25 people work for us. And there's advantages and drawbacks to that. Like we are building out systems. We have other managers. So I don't have any clients that I serve directly, but I do actually have to be more rigid on the hours I work because I have people to lead.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that I have no flexibility, but I've actually chosen to schedule in less flexibility so that my team can get the most mileage. They know when I'm around, things of that nature. But I'm doing that to build the freedom to then later not have to be so rigid
Yeah.
with my time. So I guess the point I'm making is I've seen it go in seasons for
Totally.
me, you know?
And I think that's where like my thought is a little bit different. My thought right now is yes, I'm 100% remote. I don't want to be anywhere 5 days in a row doing anything. Like
Yeah.
I'm just like I need to be a ping pong
Rebel
ball.
entrepreneurs,
Exactly.
man. Like,
Yeah. I like.
we'll not do that same thing 5 times in a
I will
row.
not do that right now, especially, and it kind of goes back to like because being the dad right now is my number one. Being the entrepreneur is my number two. I'm thinking a little bit differently. Like right now, I'm fine with just like casual growth with my companies, just enjoying life and like being present. But I think I could, and this might change next week, but right now, I think I could go into like a full-time office situation 5 to 10 years from now
Yeah.
because what we saw at Chubby's was awesome.
Yeah.
Like having the team in person. Yeah, definitely. I wouldn't say it's more productive, but you definitely have some good, like, good vibes.
There's
that
value
happen.
there. There's
Yeah.
value that can get created in the business in different ways.
Exactly.
Right?
And if you're building a brand, it's interesting to like have all those people and all those like random conversations that happen that just turn into something interesting. That's kind of where my head is at, is like I would be down to go in person, but it's going to be after this phase
Yeah.
of like the 1 and 4-year-old. It's going to be when they like don't care about me anymore anyway, so
Totally.
we can go do whatever.
Well, no. I mean, so it's funny. Do you know Ryan Rouse? He lives out here too. He's
I don't think
he's the
so.
president at Malk, but he was formerly executive at Serenity Kids and a few other Austin brands. We're definitely going to have him on the
Yeah,
show.
nice.
He lives not far from here. And he's 45 or 46, and he has 3 kids, but he's just, I consider him to be like 8 years ahead of me
Yeah.
in the game of life. And I ran this by him when I first started Free to Grow because I was a freelancer first. It really started scaling. And I'm a business builder at heart. I'm an EOS coach. So like I know systematically how to build a business. And I saw the opportunity for this to go from freelance to a business that was bigger than me. And I wrestled with this heavily for about 18 months. I did a lot of praying about it. I talked to a lot of different people, including Ryan. And Ryan said something that really stuck to me that aligns with part of what you're saying is he's like, listen, man, now is the time for you to be around a little bit more, because he's like, I'm 8 years ahead of you. My kids don't want to be around me
Yeah,
the same
exactly.
way that they want to be around you.
Yeah.
So just remember that, like, it's the way it feels right now is not the way it's always going to feel. And, one thing that I always try to remember, and this is hard to remember as a parent, it's probably one of my go-tos when dealing with crises with my between me and my wife. I'm not talking about a marriage crisis, like I'm talking about a crisis of like something's not working
Yep.
in our family. What do we do? And there's this concept. I want to say it actually comes from like Ecclesiastes or something in the Bible, but it talks about there's a season for everything. And there is. Everything, life moves in seasons. And that's one of the most helpful things for me with being a dad and an entrepreneur. Whatever I might be in that moment, easy, hard, feels good, feels bad, somewhere in the middle. It all moves in seasons, and
Totally.
no season lasts forever.
Totally.
And it's so important. If there's like, that's probably the single concept that's the most helpful to me as a dadrepreneur is like, this is a season.
Yeah.
And I gotta be honest with you, I don't think a lot of people are helpful in providing that perspective.
Totally. I think what comes to mind whenever you say that is like, because I was one of the first kind of like early leaders to leave Chubby's, and our team was thick. Like
Yeah.
still to this day, we're all thick. And slowly, like I was kind of the one that kicked off and like spread my wings and went out there to fly around and see what was going on. And I look at the Chubby's like season, as you mentioned, as like as some of the like one of the best seasons of my life. It was so good. I met my wife. I mean, like the whole thing was like epic. I loved it. But when all of these folks leave Chubby's as well, I tell every single one of them, because for some reason I'm still the guy to like, if I hear that somebody's leaving, I'm calling. I'm like appreciating them for like the work they did. And I've been out of the business since, I don't know, 2018, 2019, but I'm still calling. So this month we had another one of those early people leave. And I tell them the same thing. I was like, the grass definitely isn't greener on the outside. Like the grass on the other side of this season isn't greener, but I would say it's an equal shade of green. Like it's just all about how you manage it, right? You can go anywhere and have a crappy time, or you can go anywhere and have a great time. Like it's just how you manage it. I resonate with that so much. If there's any wisdom that I kind of give towards people whenever they kind of roll out from a position or go into some next stage of life, it's like, if you look back, the grass was green for sure. Yeah. But the grass is equally as green going forward.
Well, what I'm starting to realize, this makes me feel a little old, I'm about to say. I'm only 39 and I'm aware of the fact 39 is a weird age to me.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm aware of how old I am, but still how young I am. I've never been in my 70s or 80s, so I can only imagine what it's like. But I feel like at that time, it's like, hey, look, I'm not young anymore. So that whatever line of thinking follows, like I've still got a lot of years left, that's probably gone.
Yeah.
Right? 39, you're like, you are legit smack dab in the middle, and you're like, okay, what do I do with the back half of my life? Right? Being an entrepreneur for the last 17 years, more or less, and choosing to go fairly aggressive with having 3 kids in 3.5 years, I have a lot of rich, exhausting experience that I don't regret. I don't regret a single piece of any of it. I have no regrets. But what I will say with where I'm at age-wise and the experience that I do have, and seeing how life is now taking shape, I am thinking a lot more about the journey than the outcome. When we're in the startup world, I'm sure there's this way for you at Chubby's, like, yeah, we're enjoying the journey, but everyone is very outcome driven.
Oh,
largely because we're not making any money today, right? Like we're
hopefully
making
it's coming.
We're making money if the outcome happens, right? That's part of the thrill of it. You never know if the thing you're building is gonna be so much bigger than what it feels like it is in the moment, right? But I'm starting to realize that the outcome doesn't matter nearly as much. It's not insignificant,
Right.
but I think the outcomes, rather it being an endpoint, both in business and in life, it ends up being more of like a drip feed
Like a
over
checkpoint.
time. Yeah, and a lot of times you can't even see it in the moment. You see it in the rear view mirror. Like when I think about growing Free to Grow CFO, we've been around for 4 years. It started with just me and an EA. We have 50 brands and 25 employees. When I tell that to people who know anything about the fractional CFO space, they're like blown away. They're like, "Are you serious?" But to me, I'm just like, I know where all the problems are. I know what I'm working on trying to fix. I see the shortcoming. I see the gap between what I know we can be and where we're actually at. But if I look back, it has been very personally, emotionally, and financially fruitful, and it has impacted the lives of many other people as well.
Totally.
And I'm starting to realize that, like, I want to get your perspective on this because I think this is the hardest part about, for me, this is one of the hardest parts about being a dad and an entrepreneur. Being a dad makes me realize the journey is of utmost importance. But being a business owner, you do need to drive towards some outcome because that's how human nature works. You have to have something you're driving towards to drive forward innovation and progress. But if that becomes the journey, like trying to get to the outcome, it really flies in the face of trying to enjoy the outcome or the journey of being a dad and being a present business owner. How does that show up for you?
I mean, I just agree, like 100%. I mean, in my mind, like there's no such thing as like work-life balance because we run a family business. We're all in it. My wife runs warehouse operations and wholesale and all that, and I'm in there doing everything else. And we talk about it at dinner, and we talk about it at breakfast, and we talk about it at bedtime. And like, this is just work life is no such thing.
No,
like it's just life.
Just life and work is a part of life.
Exactly. So like family is like that. But I do say that me being the dad to those little girls is just like, that's what's important. And so whenever I look at it on the journey, like I'm having a good time running my business. It's like super fun. It's like, you know, ups and downs. There's wins, losses, all that kind of good stuff. But the exponential good time that I'm having being a dad is like on a different level.
For
like
sure.
and maybe it's like, I don't know, like maybe it's because I'm a girl dad or something like that, but like, dude, we have like a ritual at our house. Every single morning it's like 6:15, the girls get up and I make them breakfast and I just sit there and I have my coffee and I two girls on each side and they like have their breakfast and I just sit there and watch the sun come up like every single morning without fail. And dude, I regularly sit there and I'm just like, man, this is the best time of my entire life. Like 100%.
You got the sign right there. These are the good old days. I love that sign.
100%. Like I just like this, like, and I think about that very, very regular. I don't really tell anybody about it, but I sit there and I like think about it very regularly. Like this is the best time of my life. And I don't have that thought like running, you know, a business or doing like some of that stuff.
No, I mean, dude, there's something powerful about the love of being a parent or the love for life and your kids and your family as you are growing as a dad. By the way, like I didn't have it immediately. Like when the kids are babies, they're attached to their mom, right? And like, I mean, I was like immediately in dad mode in terms of like, what does everyone need? I'm kind of like chief keeping everyone alive. So like definitely go straight into like dad protector mode. But the love of like, wow, this is life changing to just be present with my family. That took me a few years, mostly because it took that time to actually start getting to know my kids on a relationship level.
I think there's a delay for the dads. I think because the little one is inside the mom for 9 months. Like it's obvious she gets a head start and is like very much like connected to that little human. So I agree. I'm in the same boat. And also it's just like a massive shock. It's just like a freaking earthquake that happens in your world. You gotta like, just like, all right, what's going on here? Like, what do I do? Like, but I would say the number 2 was quicker. Like it
No, for sure. Same thing with me. It might have been a little different for me too, because I have a girl and two boys. My first was a girl, and I come from a family of four boys.
Yep.
I've never been around a little girl in my whole life before my daughter.
Yeah.
My daughter is the first little girl. So like, and anyways, like there's something that I'm thinking of though that I want to. It's the morning routine thing.
Yeah.
So it's funny because I'm a productivity psycho. Before we had kids, getting things done, Michael Hyatt, all these productivity hacks. I have a Michael Hyatt full focus planner. In that planner, you have your morning routine, your morning ritual, your workday startup ritual, workday shutdown, and your evening ritual written out. And I have been regimented on that for since before my daughter was born, so 9 years, something like that. In this season, my rituals are completely destroyed. It's crazy. It wasn't like that when our kids were infants. Morning ritual was good to go.
Dialed.
Well, you know what it was? Cribs.
Yeah.
Crib or lack thereof, or lack of crib. So before big girl bed and big boy beds existed in my house, everyone was in a crib. And morning rituals, alive and well. A year ago, my youngest got moved to a big boy bed, and so no cribs. And for about the last 9 months, someone's in our bed.
Dude, yeah.
5 out of 7 nights a week, it's new for us because that did not happen when they were little. And so we're actually going through a reversion or regression back to not sleeping. And if I wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning, there's a kid sitting in my office 5 seconds later. Going back to seasons, I think the big thing, like if there's one thing I can say to people listening, you just got to get real comfortable with, is how uncomfortable it is that something might just change. And you've got to find a new routine. I've had to reinvent my routines several times. So you want to know something crazy? You know what my morning routine now is?
Yeah.
It's at 9 a.m.
Really?
But you know why? Because that's when my boys are at preschool. Yeah. And so, but it's condensed. I used to have an hour and a half morning routine. It's now 30 minutes. I know it won't be like that forever. But I know I need to have something. So I do a 30-minute morning routine.
Yeah.
Way later. It's funny, my business partner, if he ever listens to this, he probably doesn't know that. It's 10 a.m. in New York where he is. He's already working. I'm not. I'm doing my morning routine. But without that, I'm pretty worthless from a work standpoint. Yeah. And so that 30 minutes...
You just like straight up feel disorganized.
Yeah, like the mental clarity is just not there. So, that's been the craziest thing for me overall. It's like I've always been a super organized, accounting, finance guy, productivity hacker, and then kids just blew that all up. But you find your version, no matter how small it is, of the organized rituals in the season that you're in. And you got to be willing to say, is this not working anymore? And it's time to change it again.
We go to bed early. We are like, we are...
What's early for you guys?
Dude, we put the girls down by 7:30.
Yeah, we're saying 7:30.
And we are pretty much in bed at like 7:45. And then I'll listen to podcasts or do whatever. But I'm pretty much asleep by I'm dreaming by now, for sure, 100%. Whenever I think about changing things, and I have done this, because our whole family wakes up early. The rooster is crowing at 6 a.m. for sure.
I heard the rooster crowing.
Legitimately. There's a literal rooster crowing. I've started thinking about waking up at 4 a.m.
Yeah, my wife is recently doing 4:45. That morning routine when you have little kids and you're running a business, whatever version of it is, whatever time it happens, it just has to happen.
Totally.
Or everything else is out the window. Okay, I want to pivot here a little bit. This is fun because I feel like we got to kind of touch all these.
Dude, yeah.
My mind's already racing on the list of questions that I want to ask. Spoiler alert, first episode with a guest, Kyle Hensey from Chubby's. That's coming at you after this one. Assuming he shows up today. Yeah. Pretty sure he will. I'm already thinking about all the fun stuff that we're going to talk about with these guests. But I think before we close up this one, what is your hope for what we get out of these next conversations we have on future episodes?
Yeah, I think my first hope is I hope we do it in person as much as possible.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Because I don't have purposeful conversations, especially about the dad piece. Kind of goes back to what you were saying, the early part is I don't have like really like sit down purposeful conversations talking about the hurdles that is familyhood and being a dad and like managing all the crazy cats and all that kind of stuff. So I do like the idea of being in person. It really kind of like makes us show up and like make sure it's right. And so I like in person. I like talking to, and it kind of goes back to what I was talking about earlier. I just want like different perspectives so I can kind of compare some of the random things and the like dad hacks and the different things that like I've found out, over the last 4 years of being a dad, over the last, close to 15 years being an entrepreneur. Some of those hacks that I think like that, it's just worth sharing some of the stuff that I've learned over that time, but also just through osmosis, like absorb things that you have learned and through like the guests.
I love both of those. And, my biggest goal is to just, this may sound sappy, probably does sound sappy, but I want to just hear human stories about the real shit going on in life. There's too much curated content out there. Even like, look, my content for my other business is more polished than I would like at times, but I'm always asking my team to make sure it's real. And I just don't talk about super sensationalist stuff. I talk about things like, hey, running a business is hard and takes a long time. That's why you need a CFO.
Yeah.
So I try to be real. I'm looking forward to real conversations here. And I think the other thing is, sadly, I see the mom content out there that gets served up to my wife. A lot of it's really polished, and it makes the women in our lives feel like they're not doing a great job.
It's like injecting anxiety.
Yeah. I actually hope to do the opposite with this podcast, which is like, dude, your kids are alive and your business is growing and you're killing it. And it's really hard, and we're here to share that it's really hard, and so are our guests. And I think there's something, when you go to an event, I felt like this when we met up at the Final Loop event. You go to like an e-com event, you talk to a bunch of other founders and stuff, and you're like, oh man, okay, my business is not that bad. And you're like, you have a newfound energy to go back to your business, which has felt like it's got all these issues, and maybe you're hitting a ceiling, and you're like, no. I got this, man. That's what I want out of this. I want people to come away from coming on the show and listening to the show to be like, no. What I'm experiencing is real. Yeah. And I'm not the only one. And I'm ready to go try some new things as a dad and as an entrepreneur. So, man, I'm excited, dude.
I'm fired up.
Dude, honestly, this is kind of a milestone. I've been talking about this for 4 years, and you and I have been talking about it for maybe a year. And episode 1, you just got to get started, right?
Yep, that's it. That's all you got to do. It's this is gonna be great. I mean, this comes really easy. Basically, just two dudes shooting the shit.
Well, I think episode 1, that's a wrap, and I'm looking forward to number 2, man.
Thank you all for being here. See ya.
Let's do it.